Hi guys, I'm Natalie and I'm the founder of To Teach Your Own. To Teach Your Own is a vlog that's going to be set up to help those who might consider homeschooling just to get a feel for what it could look like. I've opened up my home and what we do to you guys just so you can see that homeschooling is something that's very practical, that you could actually teach your own just with a little bit of help. So what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about the curriculum that we use. There's a section on the blog called What We Use and How We Use It. And I want to talk to you today about our math curriculum. Math is a subject that people kind of get a little funny about. A lot of times when I talk to people who are considering homeschooling, the first subject that gives them trepidation is math. They are concerned about whether they'll be able to teach their children math. And I know I started from a place where I had kindergartners, first graders, second graders. We're kind of moving up in our math levels, so it didn't come across as too intimidating to me, but I know for some parents it's kind of a challenging subject. But we're going to talk to you about what we use. And before we talk about the actual book that we decided, I wanted to tell you about how we got to it. First of all, our families decided to, for the most part, be classical educators. We decided that the trivium and the way that classical education lays out their vision for education is the way we like it for our household. So we've decided to educate that way. So there's so many different websites and web pages and videos you can watch. You can find some on the website on toteachyourown.com that'll show you just kind of resources on what classical education is, and I'll even do a video of kind of my breakdown and my understanding of it. But for any home educator who is thinking about educating classically, I always recommend this book. I think every video I start is going to start with this book. This is the 4th edition of The Well-Trained Mind by Susan Wise Bauer, and it's actually a guide to classical education at home. This is by Susan Wise Bauer and Jesse Wise, and as you can see, this is a very worn book, and that's because I use it often. I've used it in different stages in our homeschooling, and one of the things it does is recommend curriculum that's in line with classical education. So I recommend this to anyone. I mean, anyone who's even thinking about teaching a child in any way should read this one just to understand what the classical method is, why it's been used, and why it's classic, it's timeless. So putting this down, I move it on to our subject today. Our subject today is math. We're going to talk about the math curriculum that we use in our household for my now 8-year-old, but we've been using it since she was about 5. We decided on Math UC. Math UC is recommended as one of the curriculums in the Well-Trained Mind, but we've looked at several different kinds. There are several recommended. I know Saxon's a popular one, and Singapore Math even is one, but we decided on Math UC for several reasons. And one of the reasons that I like it so very much is that it is manipulative heavy in some senses. It uses visuals, Math UC, to teach math. And so let's just break down what the parts of Math UC are. So depending on the kind of kit you get, you would get this. This is the DVD for Math UC, and per subject, so Math UC is broken down into levels, not necessarily grades, but levels. They, in some cases, correspond to grades, but not so much. There's alpha, beta, gamma, delta. My daughter is on delta, so we'll talk about this one today, but we have all of the other ones, and I may make a video for the different ones. But essentially, you use them the same way. In our family, we break ours down watching the video together, sometimes apart depending on the content, on Monday, and doing our first examples and our first worksheet, and then throughout the week we finish our worksheet. So each one is included in each kit is a DVD. You watch a DVD, it kind of introduces the subject, gives you examples, you use them together, and then you have a student workbook. So the student workbook looks very much like this, and I like the breakdown of it, and I'll just show you some of my little girls' work. I like this workbook that they have for Math UC because it helps me to schedule as a mom. I try to make sure that when I get my curriculum, I look for things that are easy. I didn't homeschool to create a school system at home. I homeschooled to just make learning a part of our lifestyle, so I didn't want something that was too complex. So we like this because when you learn a new subject, so this is A, you have worksheet A, worksheet B, worksheet C, D, and E, and they're listed at the top. So what I do is we'll do our DVD, and then we'll do A and B on Monday, C and D on Tuesday, E and F on Wednesday, and G on Thursday. Just because we like our 4-day school week, we have classical conversations, kind of like a co-op that we meet with on Fridays. So we break down our school week like that. But you're free to break this down, one sheet a day, that kind of thing, depending on your child. I think that's something that you're going to hear constantly in these videos, is just that you make your education, you tailor it to your child, and not only their abilities, but just the pace at which they learn. And so in addition to the worksheet, we always get the full packet because I like to have my own teacher guide. This teacher guide, it has answers to all of these in here, which initially when you're doing addition and subtraction is no big deal, but as we move on further into math, I appreciate having all the answer keys so I can grade her work easily. And then it also has their own chapters that explain to you kind of in more detail what it is your child is doing. If you'll notice in this book, you see these images right here of vlogs, and that brings me to the real reason why I love Math U See. We can really see math with Math U See. One of our favorite purchases of all time as a homeschool family is the manipulative set. So the manipulative block set looks like this. Sorry. Looks just like this. So in it, there is different blocks for different numbers. And what you do, it's kind of showing your child at the young age, it's just kind of like a tactile way of doing math. So for example, I'll do one for you guys. So these are the 5s. We know them by now by color, what number they are. So this is 5, and if I were gonna add 5 plus 4, I can see, okay, this is 5 plus 4. And what is equal to 5 and 4? And that is 9. So I can see that 5 plus 4 equals 9. And I could also switch up and see that 6 and 3 equals 9. But it just helped to have that visual. My little girl loves it. When she puts on her DVD, she'll bring this in the room with her and kind of watch and follow along visually with it. So we really like this. I am not a trained teacher. Many homeschool parents are not. And so we don't have as much experience with it. I like that Math U See makes these manipulatives really easy to use. One of the things that you notice as a homeschool parent, at least for me, I had a pretty good education, and I could say that I did well in math. There was a point that I reached though that I just didn't want to move, not that I just didn't want to move forward. I was like, you know what, I think pre-calculus, I think calculus is kind of my max. It's as far as I want to go with math. And I think part of that might be that although I clicked along and got A's on my test and got A's in math along the way, I never really developed a love for it because I couldn't really visualize why I needed it and what I was using it for. So one of the benefits I think to Math U See using this method is that using these blocks, I can really give my girls a concrete way of seeing math. The top 3 things we like about Math U See are the hands-on nature of it, how easily it fits into our homeschool schedule and the time it takes to do it, and then the repetitive nature of the exercises. So if you're looking for a math curriculum, this is just one of them to consider. I'll be back again with some other subjects and the curriculum that we use for those subjects. Hey fellow homeschoolers, if you enjoyed this channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at To Teach Her Own.